So which one do I prefer personally? My personal opinion, right? Let's get into that. Okay. Hello everyone, if you don't know me, my name is Shu. I just moved to Ho Chi Minh from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, okay? Right now, I am outside enjoying some tea and a little bit of breakfast. And as I was scrolling through my comments, I seen somebody ask me, how do I like Malaysia versus Vietnam? And I figured if that person was curious, more people would probably be curious as well. So in this video, we will be discussing the differences that I see between Ho Chi Minh and Kuala Lumpur. And while there are differences, there are also similarities, and there are quite a few, okay? And so I'm about to enjoy this breakfast, and then we're gonna get right into the video, okay? Okay guys, we changed the scenery real quick. But so yeah, let's get into these differences, right? So first, let's talk about the two cities just in general, right? So Kuala Lumpur. So as we know, Kuala Lumpur is the capital of Malaysia, okay? A very vibrant city. It's known for its skyline, diverse culture, and modern amenities. On the other hand, we have Ho Chi Minh, which is Vietnam's largest city. It's famous for its rich history, bustling streets, and great street food, okay? So I'll be sharing my personal opinions, and I'll also be sharing some good facts. So Kuala Lumpur has approximately 1.8 million people, but it has about 7.5 million people on the outskirts. Ho Chi Minh has 9 million people in the city itself, okay? So when I got off the plane, one of the first things that I noticed was the transportation difference. As you could just see by looking around, the amount of mopeds versus cars is incredible. I would say in Kuala Lumpur, the ratio, because Kuala Lumpur definitely has its shares of mopeds, but I would say the ratio is probably about, I would say the ratio is probably about 30% mopeds, 70% cars. In here, it's probably about 60% moped, 40% car, okay? Everybody is on mopeds. It is the way to get around here. In Kuala Lumpur, cars are much more common. But like I said, they both definitely use mopeds. Now, secondly, I want to discuss the cost of living, all right? So the cost of living here is actually, outside of rent, is actually significantly cheaper than Kuala Lumpur, okay? And Ho Chi Minh, I want to say, like, the food, the taxis, the drinks, whatever you're trying to buy, I'm telling you, it's going to be cheaper. The only thing that is more expensive from my experience is the rent, okay? So it's more expensive to live here, but when you spend money, you're saving a lot of money, okay? You're saving so much money. I actually did some research and found these numbers for you guys. So it says the cost of living in Kuala Lumpur is 10.5% higher than Ho Chi Minh without rent. Like I just said, without rent. Rent prices in Kuala Lumpur are 6.8% lower than Ho Chi Minh. Grocery prices in Kuala Lumpur are 12.4% higher, and restaurant prices in Kuala Lumpur are 45% higher. That's almost a 50% increase. So you could just imagine the amount of money that you're spending for the meals that you're getting and for the quality that you're getting, okay? You can't beat that in Ho Chi Minh, I'm telling you right now. As far as the weather and the climate goes, it's pretty much the same. They both feel extremely hot. That's not that big of a difference. But I will say in Kuala Lumpur, if you have visited Kuala Lumpur, if you're from Kuala Lumpur, you know how it rains, okay? It rains crazy. Especially like if it's in a rainy season, it might be once a day. It rains for like an hour and it's insane. But here, although it rains, it's not as severe as Kuala Lumpur. It doesn't look like the world's about to end when it rains. It definitely rains, but it seems like it's a little bit lighter. But it definitely does rain. It rained earlier today. I'm getting wet right now, I think because the wind. I don't know if y'all seen that, but like, look at my hand. I literally just got wet because it was raining earlier. But yeah, so that's the weather. Like I said, pretty much the same. Culture is another thing that is going to be different because, as you guys know, Kuala Lumpur, or you might not know, but Kuala Lumpur is literally known for it being multicultural, okay? It's a large Malay community, a large Chinese community, and a large Indian community, right? I'm pretty sure those are the biggest nationalities in Malaysia. However, in Vietnam, it's pretty much all Vietnamese. And this also plays a role into the communication, which is another thing that I noticed. Because in Kuala Lumpur, or Malaysia in general, pretty much everybody speaks English. It's very common, even if it's not the greatest, people can speak English, and it's very well, so that's never an issue. But here in Ho Chi Minh or Vietnam in general, English is definitely not everybody's first or second language, okay? So it's harder for me to communicate with people. I have to use my Google Translate app at least once or twice a day if I'm out and about talking to people. But it's just something that they get used to. It's not a big deal, but it is easier to communicate when I was in Malaysia versus here. So if you're trying to visit here, you definitely want to keep that in mind. And then as far as food goes, I will say this, they both have incredible food, right? Vietnam is known for its street food. It's street food everywhere, especially like in the areas that are like on the outskirts of the main city. Street food everywhere. But Kuala Lumpur also has those street food markets. But like I said, they're both incredible foods, man. I won't lie to you. And then nightlife, okay? So nightlife is a little bit different. You guys know that Malaysia is a Muslim country, right? So there's a lot of things, like for example, they're very strict on weed in Malaysia. There's not a ton of drinking going on. But there is a couple places, like I did go out a couple times and I experienced the nightlife in Malaysia. But here, the nightlife is insane, okay? It's insane. People are drinking, people are partying, girls are dancing. It's actually very crazy. And I have a video coming soon, all right? So you stay tuned for that. But and so that's a big difference. Like you know, one is a very strict Muslim country and one isn't. And I believe though that that's a pro about Malaysia, because when I go to Malaysia, I could focus. I'm not worried about all of the distractions, etc. But when you come to some of these other places, it's very easy to get distracted. So they both have their pros and cons. It depends on your goal of travel and what are you looking to get out of the situation. So which one do I prefer personally? My personal opinion, right? Let's get into that, okay? So I will say this, my apartment in Malaysia was amazing, right? It had so many amenities: a pool, a gym, mini golf, a basketball court. It had boxing bags. It had a rooftop garden. It had a lounge area where you could just hang out. It had so much stuff. However, my new spot in Ho Chi Minh has like 10% of that, okay? It's mainly just a pool and a gym. And then it has like a couple places where you can play like pool or like ping pong, stuff like that. But that's about it. However, I'm paying twice as much as I was paying in Malaysia. But also, right outside of my apartment is way more shops, okay? Here is so much easier for me to get fresh food, fresh fruit, coffees, smoothies. There's a bakery. It's tons of people around my area and tons of people my age in my area as well. Where I stayed in Kuala Lumpur, it was not like that at all, okay? I had to make a walk to the supermarket just to get fresh food, any type of fruit that I wanted. Even like the small markets here, they have a crazy selection of food, crazy selection of fruit. And you know, I'm very healthy, so that's very important to me, so I like it for that. Also, when I was staying in Malaysia, I was about 45 minutes from the city, but here it's like a 15 to 20 minute drive, right? I'm really close to the city and everything that I need to go to. So when you weigh out all the options, I must say it's about the same, okay? Kuala Lumpur, I had a lot, but it was a lot that I was missing. Here, I also have a lot, but it's a lot that I'm missing. So when you just compare the two, in my opinion, for me, they just balance out, all right? And it's really no difference, you know what I mean? And I love both of these places. And since I just moved to Vietnam, I do have a lot to experience and a lot to explore. And I'm looking forward to doing that, okay? And I'm looking forward to you guys joining me on the journey. So yeah, man, that is my opinion on, is Kuala Lumpur better than Ho Chi Minh, okay? And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch up with you guys next time.